Good evening from the Great Canadian Podcast, sitting around in a basement, four dudes discussing whatever the hell's going on out there. I'm your host for the evening, Jeff. You'll find my YouTube channel at ItBeNero. Sitting across the table from me is the only other good YouTuber in the room.
Hi, my name is Lawson. Username's Kilroy56.
Okay, not a disappointment. Like, the kid sitting to my right is a disappointment.
Who doesn't do YouTube, by the way? I'm Zach.
You don't do YouTube, so you're a disappointment.
No.
And sitting straight in front of me is the beautiful weird man.
Hey guys, I'm Wilson. Also gamertag Earth.
His gamertag is Earth. Just don't look it up on YouTube because you will find piles of dirt being discussed and being made wet.
Hey, dirt's pretty interesting.
You know what else is interesting? The weather right now is like 19 kinds of screwy up here. We had a great winter so far. I think it's been, average of about positive 5 degrees Celsius since winter started. And today, even while I was at work, it was minus 16 high. Overnight tonight, it's going to hit negative 30 or so degrees Celsius.
I read somewhere I think it's tomorrow during the day, it's going to be like minus 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just casual in the afternoon when it's supposed to be the hottest.
The high tomorrow afternoon is negative 24 degrees. And Monday's the same. It doesn't start to warm up until Tuesday or Wednesday.
So I thought we were going to have a fairly mild winter. Like, I'm really confused as to why it's getting so cold all of a sudden.
I've got no idea. Like, it's been a really mild winter for us. And then over, like, the last 2 weeks, it's just been sweeping up through the U.S. and coming down from, like, Manitoba and northern Canada. Has just been this ridiculous cold spell, bringing places like, not California, Chicago, is down to, like, negative 40 or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Their regular rush hour, I saw a video of like cars going down one of the biggest freeways in the city from downtown out to the suburbs. Over 5 minutes on that video, I saw 4 cars going down the freeway at 9 in the morning. That's insane. And it's only because how cold it is.
We've had a total of like 4 actual snowfalls since winter started.
And none of them have lasted longer than a week.
No.
And now there's this one. Like, the weird part is it got so cold so quickly, there's no snowfall associated with this. We got half a centimeter of snow earlier, and it was that kind of cold snow that it falls and it's not wet, it won't stick to anything, it's just powder that flies around the parking lot for hours on end, and you can watch the same particle go one way and another between cars while your manager stands behind you wondering what the hell you're doing.
I was gonna say, Jeff, this sounds like a really personal story because it got oddly specific really quickly.
Yeah, but it's the kind of snowfall that you go outside and you step, and it's not like you're stepping in snow, like the regular noise of snow. It's like that you're stepping on broken glass noise from snow. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. When snow is so cold, there's no water left in it.
Yeah, it's just dust vapor.
Coming home from work, and when I was out on my breaks at work, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's too cold out there for water vapor to be up in the air. It's insane. So 2 of the idiots in this room, me, Zach, and Wilson, the 3 of us, are going to Italy in the next couple of months.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which is going to be a hell of a lot of fun for us, but I'm worried about the plane flights. I stand 6'4", 3, 4, or 5, somewhere in there. I mean, I don't really care that much. It's not like I'm trying to compensate for anything with my height, so I don't have to need to measure every single minute. But when I sit down in a plane seat in economy class, which is obviously the only thing I'm going to fly because I don't have $1,000 to spend every day, I sit with, my back is about as far back in a chair as you can physically get, and my knees are still pushed up against the table in front of me. It is the least comfortable thing I've ever done.
Honestly, it's criminal what they're doing with the airline seating.
I wouldn't call it criminal. I'd just say
it is kind of criminal.
There's not enough competition to deal with it, but if there's more competition, I guarantee you people would buy plane seats that fit them most.
Plane seats that fit them, but at a decent price. Like, if they up the price just a little bit in order to have less passengers in such a small space, I'm sure that airline would do as good as an airline who's selling both separate business and economy class seats.
Yeah. But taking out even, like, say we go for a 737, taking out, like, 1 row in the back, that's 6 passengers less. It only seems like it's going to be $30 more per ticket or less because, let's face it, plane tickets aren't stupid expensive. The economies of plane flight and seat sales means that economy isn't worth that much money to the airline.
Well, the point of economy is to pressure people into paying for business class, basically.
Yeah, so why would they make their seats bigger then and give you more comfort?
Well, because if you're charging a little bit higher, yeah, you're paying a premium, but at the same time, if more people like your airline, then you'll get more people to fly on it.
But airlines don't really care that much, because economy class is like 60 to 70% of the volume of an entire aircraft, yet it only makes up like 30% of the money. They don't really care that much if they get.
Well, because everybody wants to get the flights for as cheap as possible,
exactly.
And airlines need to get as many people as possible on the plane. So,
yeah,
business class is where the money is at, because business travelers don't want to sit in economy.
And often business travelers need more space in order to like do their jobs on the flight. Like business travelers use the flight for a lot of their work. You know?
Yeah.
And they're willing to pay that little bit of extra.
They write it off as a business expense.
And they're the ones who buy like the in-flight Wi-Fi and the complimentary cell phone access to the ground.
Yeah, most people will never pay for that, I think.
I remember going to Vimy Ridge actually a couple of years ago for the 100th anniversary ceremony, and we flew Air Canada's new 787s there and back, but every single one of like I don't know if it's infotainment or whatever the heck they call those screens, they had like this little, like it was a game controller on one side, but it was an actual phone that you could buy minutes to talk to people on the ground with. I don't think anybody in economy is ever going to pay money to talk to somebody on the ground with it, but I can see business class users using that, so.
I'm excited for this trip, though, overall. I'm just not excited for the whole plane trip, because for me personally,
planes fucking suck.
I've never been able to sleep on a plane.
I've been
on
I don't
quite a
sleep
few.
on planes, but I sleep like a baby in cars or on boats.
Oh, agreed.
I hate plane flights because the seats are so tiny, but I love plane flights because I love aircraft and I'm going for my pilot's license.
Like, I don't know, like, if I have some sort of, like, some conscious fear of, like, the plane crashing or something like that, but, like, I just can't sleep. The only time I've ever passed out on a plane was when, like, my body and mind physically could not stay up from the whole, like, exhaustion thing. I passed out.
Oh, honestly, like, I've never fallen asleep on a plane. Like, I fell asleep in the car on the way home from the airport rather than in the plane. It's ridiculous.
I don't like. What do you think it could be? Like, do you think like we just have like some weird like subconscious fears it's gonna crash?
Planes are loud. For one, they're
loud,
way
vibrate,
way louder than cars.
Yeah. I think it's the fact that planes vibrate while they're flying, like
and way
frequencies that you don't really notice when you're conscious, but it's always kind of shifting slightly as the throttles change
and it's way worse than a car.
Moves. Mm-hmm. But one of the things is like a lot of people blame their not being able to sleep on a fear of flying, and I don't really think that's it. Because the people who are truly afraid of flying are afraid of a lot more than flying.
It's just a genuinely uncomfortable environment.
Yeah,
it really is.
Especially in those cramped plane seats. Like, nobody can get comfortable.
Close quarters with other people.
Yeah.
Recycled air.
Oh,
disease. And oftentimes, like, sometimes you you're the person you're next to is not the most, like, what's it called, space conscious. Like, take up their seat and yours forcefully. Like when they put their stuff on you.
Oh yeah, and they don't ask you for help or
no.
It's like fuck you, buddy.
It's like
get out of my space.
I'm already uncomfortable as is, man. Take your shit, put it somewhere else.
You guys want to talk about Brexit?
Here is your daily Brexit insert. Brexit is a good thing. End clip.
Whoa. Oh, I think we're gonna get some disagreement here.
Disagreement is good.
Okay, disagreement is good. Okay.
Disagreement is good. It breeds knowledge and better chances to argue. And when somebody has to argue with somebody else over a point, everybody can learn.
Okay, so
maybe it's about how stupid people are, but it's a chance to learn.
Okay, so
currently I'm not up to date to Brexit. So what's kind of going on right now?
Parliament right now and Theresa May's government are trying to make some sort of deal with the EU, but the EU is in a position of power right now, and they're pretty much saying, follow what we want, or you're gonna have to leave, like Article 19 style. For those who don't know, in the EU, I forget what they call their government document. I don't know if it's a constitution or not. There is an article, which I believe is Article 19, which is essentially a big red button that a politician can push to leave Brexit, or to leave the EU, not to leave Brexit.
It does have like a 2-year negotiating period, but because the negotiating period is going by super rapidly, the EU has a way stronger negotiating position now.
And the British, they've been asking to get like a longer extent, but the EU doesn't care. The EU is happy with however this ends up.
Well, as they should be, really. Like, they want to punish the UK for leaving so that other people don't want to try it. You know.
So if like the UK were to leave, like what would happen to them theoretically?
There's 2 options, or 3 actually, I should say. One involves them doing another referendum to stay in the EU or to leave with whatever deal is in place. Theresa May's deal basically involves the UK giving up their EU Parliament seats, and in exchange, they still have to follow EU law, but in exchange, they're out of the EU, and they don't have to. I don't think they have to pay their membership dues or something.
They don't
like
have to pay their membership dues, but they still have to follow EU protocol
regulations. Yeah, and like it's the worst of both worlds because the EU or the UK gives up its say in the EU, but it doesn't really gain anything from leaving.
Because the one of the biggest driving reasons for the EU or the British to want to leave the EU is because of things like political refugees. The Greece crisis was a major reason cited by many people as to why they voted for a Brexit.
Yeah.
And the third option is hard Brexit, where Britain leaves, all ties cut.
No deals.
No deals among anything. Britain no longer has economic or financial bargaining chips, and that's what we're driving towards in, I guess, March 2019 or 19.
To be honest with you, this is like pure speculation, but I really think it's going to go to a vote. I bet you like 2 weeks or so before March 29th, they're going to be like, okay, this is the situation. We either have a deal or we don't, or we're going to stay in the EU. You choose.
I don't even think there'll be on the option. I think it'll be like right at the start of March. I don't think there'll be an option for we have a deal or we don't. I think there'll be either hard Brexit or stay in the EU, and there's no other choice.
I think that's what it's going to be, and I think most people are going to choose stay in the EU, honestly.
Without it, I'm a huge supporter of Brexit, but without some sort of deal,
it would tank the British economy.
It hurts the Brits.
If Britain's economy tanks, how would that affect, generally, I guess, the rest of like Europe and that area?
It would be bad for everybody. It's really just like because a lot of trade, like international trade, and a lot of banks are based in Britain.
Yeah.
So their headquarters is all in London, and they would either have to move to France, move to Paris, or Germany. That's really the only two other options that they have.
Yeah. And one of the big original supporters of staying in the EU was British banks, because when the bank is in the EU, it gives them different regulations that allow them to really easily play into the hands of everybody in the EU using them and enjoying them. But if Britain leaves with no sorts of deal, all the international regulations come back to slap Britain in the face, and their banks have no way to deal with it quickly and easily to actually still play on the EU stage, and they might lose their foothold then.
So I guess the moral of the story is when you want to screw politicians over, consider what you're voting for instead of just voting for something out of spite. Because I feel like a lot of the people who voted for a Brexit really didn't understand the full implications.
That's the same way with a lot of voting, though. I'm not going to name names about Orange Man bad, but
I will agree with you.
I think a lot of people don't consider the full spectrum of who they're voting for. I don't know which one was worse, but just saying, the 2016 American election was bad choice versus bad choice.
Either way,
they came out with a bad choice.
Oh yeah, you're not wrong.
But would the other one have been a better choice or a worse bad choice?
I think a better, not that much better, but slightly better.
Better the demon you know than the demon you don't. Or
yeah, it's basically the better of two evils.
So, did you guys hear about like the whole like Huawei kind of incident
a
little while ago?
Yes,
where they arrested the CEO or whatever?
Well, CFO. Chief Financial Officer.
Yeah. Well, like, wait, was it arrested or just detained?
No, detained technically because we were shipping her off to the U.S.
Yeah. Is she at the U.S. now? Or?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Did they extradite her? I'm not sure.
Because, she kind of committed fraud and stuff in the New York area.
Yeah, but fraud in New York is not.
Yeah, fraud in New York, that's normal. That's what I'm going to do on my band trip.
I know, Huawei has been a company for, quite a while. But I think they got really popular really quickly.
That was, they had an explosion of popularity there.
Oh, massive,
They've been building themselves a market and, a customer base in China and the Asian market for a few years now. And then they just kind of exploded out into our world.
Yeah. Because one day I'm hearing, Apple, Samsung, that sort of thing, right? The big names. And then the day after, here, Huawei. That brand just kept coming up. So I don't know what they did, but they did something right.
Why do people care?
I don't like Huawei.
Huawei is just a Chinese brand.
That's the issue I have with it. Cause, it's written into the Chinese law that Chinese companies legally have to help the Chinese government pursue its interests, is the exact wording.
Yeah, because it's basically communism.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that Huawei can be forced by the Chinese government to help the Chinese government pursue their interests, Canada really shouldn't use Huawei stuff as federal communication devices.
Starting to agree with that.
I can't remember. Was it Huawei that's the spy conspiracies?
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's the company.
They
yeah.
think that they're sending data to China, the conversational data and whatnot that they get. Honestly, it's hilarious because my dad's a government worker and he has a Huawei phone. So
really, what happened to your dad's Samsung?
I don't know. They just upgraded him to a Huawei.
Upgraded to Huawei sounds like a downgrade to me.
like despite all the remarks from spyware or whatever, they're actually really good quality phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they are. Our mutual friend has one, and he got a massive upgrade. He's probably never going back for Huawei.
Well, it's just they're well designed phones. There's no they're made to sell, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just can you trust the Chinese
allegations
state to stay out of their company business?
I'd say no to that.
I think I agree.
Given how they're reacting to a warrant being carried out.
Well, they're pissed because I guess it's a precedent that they can't just do whatever they want and get away with it.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Canada, we have an extradition treaty with the U.S.
Yeah.
That's why we took the Huawei CFO and shipped her down
to
Freedom
I don't even
Land.
think we arrested her. It was the U.S. guys that did.
Yep.
No, we arrested her at the Vancouver airport, and then we hooked her up with American extradition forces.
Yeah, because she was spending her time traveling through Canada to avoid the U.S.
Yeah.
Yep. So only because I didn't really keep up with it because I had other things to do. Whatever happened in the end with that?
No idea.
Did they still fall through? Was there a lawsuit or anything like that? Or?
I think that I'm pretty sure they did extradite her, but I'm not 100% on that.
Jeff, what do you know?
They did have an extradition.
Or they will if they haven't.
If they haven't extradited her yet, then they absolutely will extradite her.
Yeah, because I know last I remember they were rushing to get the paperwork together to get her extradited.
Yeah.
The only thing that I really took away from that is our
ambassador to China.
Yeah, the ambassador to China.
We had to fire him because he was clearly oh my god. I don't even want to say he was bribed, obviously, but
bribed or stupid.
Bribed or stupid, yeah. It's really tough to figure it out. It's never attribute to malice what can be attributed to stupidity, but
I just think if you're in a position as an ambassador to someone we're currently in a political struggle with,
you
don't open your mouth.
Yeah.
You don't back. Yeah.
It's
so as of 5 days ago, I'm sorry to interrupt. As of January 29th, the United States filed a formal extradition request for the CFO.
Okay.
So
the Canadian authorities
13 counts of bank and wire fraud. That's gonna smart once you get to Freedom Land.
That's wow.
It depends which state they put her in. If she's in Washington, she's golden. If she's in Texas, she's fucked.
So, how are we feeling about the whole death penalty thing?
I'm against it.
Okay, this is just speaking out personally. I personally believe the death penalty is not amazing. I believe the death penalty is good, but bad because there's no way for us to properly apply the death penalty. We don't have any way to 110% guarantee a person is the one who committed the crime, and the same crime we're convicting them of, no matter what. If we could 100% say this person planned to kill this person for 3 weeks, and it was this person who planned, and it was the same person who committed the murder, by all means, tie the noose, drop them through the hole in the floor. But we can't prove conclusively. There might be that chance that no, it was somebody else who actually committed the murder. And as long as there's a chance that we kill an innocent with the death penalty, I am completely against the death penalty.
Well, what do you mean? Oftentimes we DNA match the person from the crime scene.
DNA matching from the crime scene can be faked or not true because if there's somebody went to the crime scene but didn't commit the murder, like they were there before or after, or somebody had physical contact with the weapon and the victim, but then didn't end up committing the crime for whatever reason,
or if the person planted the DNA,
planted some sort of DNA, exactly. So unless you have unedited footage from CCTV and personal cameras from multiple sources, and DNA evidence and firearm evidence and a whole plethora of other evidence where anybody can sit down and can't find a hole in the case, then and only then can the death penalty really be applied easily.
I can agree with Jeff that, well, first of all, I am a supporter of the death penalty. I believe that if the person is truly evil, they should not have the right to walk among us.
I think it's not about whether or not we can agree that somebody's guilty, but I think it's more a moral argument, in my opinion. It's if you kill them and end their life because of something that they did, like, are you any better than them?
I don't see the death penalty and like a true life sentence where there's no possibility of parole as being that far off of each other. A life penalty or a life sentence, you have to worry about that person for the next 30 to 60 years before they die naturally.
And using resources,
So the death penalty does cost more than the life sentence, which is weird, but it's because of all the chances at appeals and stuff. Mm-hmm. But a death penalty means that within 5 years, 10 years of conviction, that person's no longer an issue that you have to deal with them possibly escaping or them committing another crime like killing a guard person or something.
But it's a guaranteed way to get them to stop.
The main point of our prison system, though, is to take away somebody's freedom as their punishment. So if you take away their life, you haven't really punished them because they're not experiencing anything.
Well,
else.
Here's also freedom. There's still, or even in freedom. Wow.
You are freeing them.
Even in prison, there's not much freedom.
You're freeing them from life, which in turn, in my opinion, is an easier way out.
So are you arguing for there's some sort of afterlife though then, or?
No, I'm saying that if you kill a person and they no longer experience life as we know it on this planet, not saying there is or is not an afterlife, but they no longer have to experience what it's like to be in a prison day in, day out.
But not everything in prison is hatred and the need to.
No, and it's not.
Right, there's a lot of joy that goes on in prison, believe it or not. There's
not necessarily joy, but
not necessarily joy, but there's lots of good experiences that can be had in prison.
I'm not saying there aren't. I'm just saying the taking away their freedom is the main punishment. It's not that we're trying to punish them in a way that destroys their spirit. It's to tell them that they are a threat to our society, and that as because of that, as a result of that, we cannot allow them to walk among us.
But there's no better way to tell somebody you're a threat to our society than wiping them off the face of the earth.
Well, yeah.
And this is kind of the other problem we have. Just speaking with like Canada's judicial system, murder on average gets you 5 years.
On average?
Depending on what kind of murder, yeah.
Yeah.
Second degree, maybe.
Yeah, like...
First degree murder never gets anybody a true perfect life sentence in Canada. You always get a chance at parole.
I do agree with life sentences.
Yeah. Like, because in Canada, you can get a chance at parole. You can be out. You only have
if
to
you're
serve
a serial killer, you
only have
be...
to serve 25% of your sentence
to be eligible for parole.
Yeah, eligible for parole. And for some people, I mean, yeah, they killed someone. It's fine. If, they do their time, they consider themselves accountable for it, they own up to it.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, you're fine. You can go back out to be society, be a successful person. For the people that will essentially go off to be like the serial killer,
and they won't change.
Yeah, they won't change. Get rid of them. Like, I would remove them, because then they're just going to be a perpetual problem, and there's just always that ever-looming.
There's always that risk.
Also, even though, Jeff would describe that prison's not all that bad at times, most prisons in, say, for example, in the U.S., they're a really bad place. You're essentially sending them to a form of torture. I know killing them is one thing, but
I don't think prison should be torture.
Well,
it
just turns out that way because it's just a dark place overall.
Yeah.
So you're essentially sending the person to a lifetime of torture, and is that any better than just removing them?
It should be an unpleasant experience.
Yeah, it should be harsh enough that the person doesn't want to return.
Yeah.
Some of the gulags in northern Russia, people that get convicted and go to there, they don't ever become returned criminals because who wants to end up back in that hellhole again?
Mm-hmm.
Justin Trudeau and his government have recently signed into the parliament system that they're going to try to push for a complete handgun ban in Canada.
A handgun ban
Meaning nobody but police and military can have handguns in Canada.
So if I owned a handgun and I wanted to use it on a private range,
you have to get rid of it. The government will either take it from you and buy it back, which buyback programs aren't really buyback programs. We're going to steal it from you, but we'll give you a bit of cash in return programs. But the government will either take your guns from you and give you a bit of cash, or they'll just take your guns from you and tell you you're at fault for having an illegal weapon.
When was this ban proposed?
Within the last month.
Really?
Yes.
How is it considered, though? Because I know my grandfather owns a old revolver with a trigger lock on it. And
yeah, so
for us, it's more of a family heirloom.
I have no idea what they'll decide can be family heirlooms and classical weapons versus ban this now. Scary gun, go bang bang.
My grandfather has one of those old revolvers that women on the prairies used to carry, I want to say 20s. But you can't find ammunition for it anymore. It's such an old caliber that nobody has it.
Well, if you find ammo for it, you're not going to use it. 'Cause the bullet will just blow the gun apart.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm guessing if the gun is completely unusable, that they won't take those, right? But
you never know though, because the Australian massive sudden gun reform that they had a while back, they took literally everything, family heirlooms, everything. And I've heard a lot of people in Canada even calling for Australian-style gun
Well,
bans.
Australian-style gun laws were a result of a couple of really deadly mass shootings that Australia had, one after the other.
Yeah.
Deadly mass shootings, though, I wouldn't say gun control really fixes that, because...
It does help.
Well, okay, it helps in the sense that, woohoo, these people that are all dead now, they're not because of guns. We got rid of guns, woohoo. But
gun violence rates do go down because nobody has guns unless they're a criminal.
Gun violence rates go down, but other violence rates go up in compensation.
Yeah.
And
bludgeonings.
Bombings.
Bludgeonings and bombings?
1960, I forgot what the year was, a massive government building was bombed in the U.S. by a guy who built an ammonium nitrate fuel oil bomb in his car. Hundreds dead, hundreds more injured.
Are you talking about Chicago? Or,
yeah.
Or no, sorry, not
Chicago.
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City bombing. Yeah. One crazed lunatic spent literally 3 days preparing and killed more than I think any shooter ever possibly has killed.
Yeah. Well, to break it down, the amount of ammunition you need to kill and injure 200 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot, actually.
Well, no, it was just flat out killed hundreds of people.
Yeah,
criminals won't stop being criminals. So I guess
no.
By banning handguns, instead of
shootings, you'll make bombings, which I'd say are
worse.
worse.
The aim by banning handguns is to get less handguns to be in circulation for criminals to get, basically.
But it's especially in Canada, handguns and sidearms fall under the restricted weaponry,
which is incredibly hard to get. Like that shooting that happened in Toronto there, which is one of the reasons cited for this ban. That shooting came about because the guy got a handgun down in the U.S. and brought it up here.
Yeah.
So why would a Canadian ban affect somebody going to the U.S., getting a handgun, and bringing it up here?
I'm not saying it'll affect that. If anything, that'll be the only way that they can do it. But then that's on the Border Patrol to make sure that doesn't happen. And also,
you can't really put something more on the Border Patrol, though, when they're already covering one of the world's busiest borders.
Well, yeah.
But in addition to
how many Americans
they've had on the Mexico border.
Yeah.
How many Americans walk across the Canadian border every day and then count themselves as refugees, though? And just what do we do about it?
It's been a lot less than it was before.
Now I'd say it's
higher due to the
Trump administration.
There was none before the Trump administration. It kind of slumped into a trough there, and then kind of peaked back up. But so what if they called themselves refugees and come back over? We just send them back.
I suppose.
You can't be a refugee from one of the biggest nations in the world, truly, without going through the right channels.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the main topic. For a handgun ban, I don't think I support a full ban, but I understand the rationality behind it.
I understand the rationality and the thoughts of we need to fix this problem now behind it, but banning something won't stop it from being done.
Oh, no, absolutely. But it's about supply.
Means.
It's making the supply more difficult to come by.
Murder will still happen, though. Stuff like that will still happen.
Yeah.
It's not like...
It's not going to solve all the problems.
It's not like you can legally kill somebody as long as you're not using a gun.
Yeah.
I don't think you can... Well...
You can...
I don't know. Just thinking of how haphazard our justice system is, where you can't, how backed up the judicial system is in Canada, there have been people who have gotten off for
less.
Murder. And that's just because there's so many cases and so much stuff back up in the process. It just takes too long. They're just throwing some of the cases just out the window.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, then if, like, for example, like, you know, reducing, like, or increasing gun regulation, if that doesn't fix it, what do you guys think it will?
Well, I think that gun regulation, where it's a full-on ban, isn't about fixing the problem of gun violence. It's more, well, it is. It is about fixing gun violence. It isn't about taking away freedoms. It's about taking away guns in circulation. It's like reducing a certain amount of thing that's in circulation for criminals to possess.
But I don't think a handgun ban, like, none of these bans ever really hurt the criminals. It only hurts law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
Like, if you
I
have
do
an
agree
illegal
with that.
firearm now, and there's a handgun ban, what's going to make you be like, oh, I'm no longer allowed to have this? Never mind the fact that I couldn't have it before, now I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going to make them hand in their gun that was already illegal?
It's
all these things that are like ban firearms, ban this, ban that. You can't just do that and expect it to get better. You have to address the source of the problem. Otherwise, the problem will, sure, shootings might absolutely stop. But what are you going to say when some crazy maniac drives a school bus full of bombs into a school and flattens 3 city blocks?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I personally, I'd say ban less, because the people who are, you know, responsible with firearms operation
aren't going to be the ones doing shooting.
Yeah.
It's obviously, it's the people that are going to do it because they have, like, vengeance or some kind of conviction that they want to uphold.
But I guess
something wild like that.
The thing, though, is that every illegal firearm was at one point a legal firearm, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it was manufactured legally and it was purchased legally.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Although, you'd be shocked at how easy it is to make a gun.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much.
Half of a 2x4 and like $5 worth of plumbing parts, and you've got a usable shot.
Yeah, it's like a 3D printer. I've seen 3D printed guns. They only work for like 1 or 2
the
shots.
plastic 3D printed guns,
Yeah.
those things are... I love how people say, oh, we can bring these on board planes and sneak them on. They're
It's literally a plastic tube.
Literally, like, the thinnest ones, the smallest ones I've ever seen that are only good for 1 shot are literally 1.5 inches thick. Where are you going to hide that comfortably that they won't mind you try to cross the border?
The answer, you're not.
The answer, it won't be comfortable, but it'll make a slurping noise.
Actually,
I remember when I was, the one flying back from Kelowna during one of my holidays. And I remember that was one of the things that the security guy asked me when I got up to the gates. He was like, any firearms today? He's like, nope. I live in Canada, and I don't think I would have a concealed firearm.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many times do you think you get a guy that says, yes, I do have a firearm with me?
I understand, like, yeah, under, like, you know, if you do have your restricted firearms license, if you do have a pistol that's concealed, yeah, you would have to
even with
check that. But even then,
with a restricted license, you can't carry concealed. There's no way to legally carry concealed weapons in Canada unless you have like a government security position or some sort of position where you have to carry concealed.
I agree with that. I don't think concealed carry should be legal.
Well, I really think it should be because I think, like, in Canada, if you go for a gun license and you say, why do I want this license? If you list self-defense, you are banned from owning a firearm for like the next 10 years. Because self-defense is an illegal reason in Canada to own anything. I can't have a baseball bat in my house if it's for self-defense.
Yeah.
I can have a baseball bat in my house if it's tucked underneath my mattress because occasionally I play baseball.
Well, the idea,
but if it's there for self-defense, it's a crime.
The idea is that the cops are for your property defense.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely great if you live in an apartment building right across from the police station.
Yeah.
But if you live anywhere else, like in Medicine Hat...
Yeah, I do agree.
Did you end up asking your father what the average police response time is in Medicine Hat?
I didn't, but...
5 minutes to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's 5 to 10 minutes usually, and you're right, it can be really bad sometimes.
Yeah,
if somebody breaks into your house with a knife, God forbid it happens, but if somebody breaks into your house with a knife, what are you to do? If you're not as big and strong as them, a knife fight is going to kill you.
Jump out the fucking window, run away.
Have you ever jumped through a plain glass window?
No.
I have never jumped over.
Rips your body to shreds.
Yeah. Well, it's either a glass or a stab wound in your fucking stomach. You kind of
Or-
choose there.
Why should
Hide.
the options be get carved up by a window, get stabbed, or hide underneath a mattress in fear, when one of the options could easily be pick up a handgun, call the police, and hide in the closet? Wait.
Okay, I wouldn't say go for handgun first. I just go for a baseball bat, kind of outranged fucker.
Most people who are buying a handgun for self-defense, I'm not sure they're as well trained as somebody like a police
The
officer.
well-trained doesn't really matter that much to me because
I think it does.
a handgun or any sort of firearm is the great equalizer. No other item in history or that anybody can legally own will you find a 22-pound, 98-year-old woman be able to use just as effectively as a 32-year-old, 400-pound bodybuilder male.
Do you honestly think that a 90-year-old woman's going to handle her recoil as well as a 30-year-old man?
You don't need to
Depending
worry
on
about
the
recoil
weapon.
if you've got a 22.
A 22 caliber pistol, maybe.
Yeah.
But so I guess actually the counter that I will argue to we should allow firearms for self-defense is there is no regulations against martial arts for defense.
There shouldn't be either.
Aside from physical condition.
Yeah.
So martial arts for
Aside from being a
self-defense
complete
are
lard.
martial arts for self-defense is a great idea, and I can see it being useful 100 years ago. Nowadays, it's really only useful if somebody comes up to kidnap you, but as soon as there's a gun or a knife involved in the other person's hands, you need the great equalizer made by Joseph Browning.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
It's a
we're not
great
all
equalizer.
freaking snake eyes over here. I just want to go quick throwback to, like, if you think a 5-10 minute response time in town's bad, try living in a rural community.
Oh yeah, that's
where
like
you
30
have
to 45
minimum
minutes at least.
30-minute response time.
Yeah.
Like, if
So-
somebody wants your stuff in that kind of area, they will go in with a gun that they got illegally because it's easy to get an illegal gun. They will go in, they will take your stuff, they will leave. Cops will get there when they're halfway across the county.
Well,
Yeah.
I agree, but I think I know it's kind of bullshit, but at the same time, I think that the idea of our justice system is that instead of you killing the guy who's stealing your stuff, he steals your stuff, and eventually you do get it back, be it through insurance or some
That doesn't
legal-
usually
insurance.
happen.
It doesn't usually happen.
Not
I do
really.
agree.
Yeah,
But
if anything,
you could make an
it's a
insurance
loss.
claim. It is a loss.
And what
Yeah.
if he steals, like, say, my laptop, if it's got my personal pictures on it? I will never get those back.
Yeah,
Because if he steals your technology, he will take it, he will wipe it. I'm saying he, but it could be a she.
It could
But
be
they.
he will take it, he will
they.
wipe it, they will sell it to somebody else. You may never see it again. He may have to pay you restitution in court. Your insurance may cover it, but
But it's priceless.
you're never going to get it back.
Yeah. But does that really is that really a justification for using deadly force against
So,
somebody who
I can see what you mean, like using deadly force on somebody who's just going to steal your stuff.
yeah.
That's not, absolutely not. You shouldn't be able to kill somebody because they're just
No.
going to steal your stuff. But if somebody, what I'm going to say right now, if somebody comes into your house with a knife to steal your stuff, how do you know that they're in your house with a knife to keep you at bay, to steal your stuff? How do you know they're not going to come to your bedroom and slit your throat while you sleep? That is
Yeah.
what you should be worried about, because
Yeah.
they might be kind to you. They might just take your stuff, but maybe they'll also take your life. Maybe they'll also take your kid and leave with them too.
Well,
and you'll
I
never
know,
see your kid again.
I'm the kind of more person where it's like, I mean, I'm not totally up for like the whole like self-defense type thing, and that can be usable in certain like scenarios. I'm more for like if somebody is on my property, living in a rural community. For me, I consider my property to be where my property is fenced. My legal land is my property, not just my goddamn house.
Yeah.
I should have the right to confront somebody on my property rummaging through my stuff, regardless if they're there to just take something or if they're there for other intent.
Right to confront to what extent though? Like to tell them to leave? Absolutely.
Right to confront
Yeah,
with the
at least to get them to leave or to keep them there until the police do show up.
Yeah.
with the ability to defend yourself, because I'm not just going to walk out onto the middle of a property bare naked with a baseball bat in my hands when that guy who's rummaging through my car trying to start it might be able to step out of that car with a rifle or a shotgun and drop me.
Well, yeah,
I
but
don't know. If you're standing there with a bat and your Johnson out, I think that'd be pretty startling.
There don't be an
Okay,
issue
I'm going to
there.
admit this. If I'm standing with my Johnson out anywhere, whoever the hell I'm looking at is going to fall over dead anyway.
but the alternative here is if the guy's rummaging through your car trying to start it and you shoot him dead and he had no way of harming you, then you've taken a life for no reason.
So
I
if
mean, yeah, I don't
fire on
if you
sight.
shoot at him because he's rummaging through your car, you should go to jail for life.
Yeah.
But the reason you have a firearm is because what if he gets out of the car and comes charging at you with a knife, or comes out of the car and he's going for a gun?
But in a rural area, the only witness that you have is yourself because the other guy's dead. You know, like, it's really difficult. Because
you don't have to exactly, like,
it's easy
shoot
to
to
tell,
kill.
though, from looking at it.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to shoot.
You can look at the
You
guy. Like,
shoot
if
the
there's a
shoot in the
bullet hole
shoulder.
in the car and there's a crumpled over figure in the car, it's kind of obvious he shot the damn guy while he's sitting in the car.
Yeah.
But if there's
shot
like
him dead.
blood marks going along to his body and there's like crumpled up ground from where he was sprinting at you, if he's got a knife or a gun on him, then it's obvious this guy was coming for you and you killed him because he was a threat.
Yeah, and then that's where the self-defense thing can be.
Like, I don't like.
a punk.
I don't think you necessarily have to kill the guy first shot. You can try subdue him with the first shot.
You can't really try to subdue somebody because
with a firearm, no. Like you can try, but
you don't. The thing with a firearm is it is a lethal weapon. If you fire your first shot to subdue, there is reason to say in a court, and like I actually believe this. There is reason to say you did not mean to kill the person. You were using the weapon before you should have, and a means to cripple them. The only time you should fire a gun in self-defense is if the other person is an immediate threat to life and limb, and you need to put them down as a threat.
Oh yeah,
like they survive, so be it. Good for them because they'll be able to get back up in 5-10 years when they're out of jail. And they can go enjoy life. Maybe they'll have changed.
Like if he's like
but
a raging
if they're no longer
meth
alive, at least you're alive still.
Yeah, but then you get maniacs like in Florida with the stand your ground laws who are like, oh, the guy was coming towards me in a threatening way, and then they get off based on the guy made 2 steps in the wrong direction, you know?
Yeah. I know some people were trying to steal from a farmer or a rancher or whatever, and I believe he fired a shotgun into the air, essentially just to startle them. And if I recall correctly, one of the pellets from the shotgun blast ended up hitting one of the individuals. Didn't hurt them, it just got them like in the shoulder or something. But even though, just the fact that like one person did get hit, essentially is enough, I believe.
The farmer went to jail for...
Yeah, if I recall...
I remember that story.
Yeah.
The farmer ended up going to jail because he hurt somebody else and he fired a weapon in self-defense, which in Canada, firearms are not to be used for self-defense.
Yeah.
I think no weapons should be used for self-defense.
Even if it was just firing it blindly into the air.
Like, I don't like the fact that... I hate the fact that the farmer fired his shotgun off when they were just digging around in his stuff and none of them were threatening him. But I think he's at fault there because he did fire when his life wasn't in immediate danger.
And that's why he was punished.
That was why he was punished. But at the same time, Canadian law would have done the same thing to him if he was in danger, which is what I don't like. If your life's in danger, you should be able to stop your life from being in danger. Seconds matter when cops are minutes away.
Yeah, and unfortunately, and I think kind of half that issue comes down to just how generally Canada's laws consider like what counts as your property, and that's restricted to the boundaries of your house.
Yeah.
Like if you are in your house, and if they come into your house, and then like you like shoot to kill type thing, then it's a little bit more leeway on your end because they were actually coming into would be your safe zone.
Yeah.
Like I say, the law assumes that if you are going to get stolen from, you're going to get your property back eventually. Like, and somebody somewhere will compensate you, be it your insurance or the public court system.
Yeah, but I still know many of my neighbors who have had things stolen. One had a tractor stolen, and that tractor has not been found.
Yeah.
Do they have insurance on it? I want to know how you don't find a tractor.
It's easy. You get it on the back of a flat deck, you haul it down in the States, and there it's gone.
Yeah.
Slap some different plates on it, you'll never know.
Well, actually, now that you mention that, I guess rural communities are at a much higher risk for theft.
Yeah.
Because it's just such sparse land, you know.
Yeah,
there's nothing there.
Nothing out there. No one's gonna notice.
Yeah.
I mean, even too like in urban environments, you hear gunshots, you're gonna call the police immediately.
Oh yeah.
Out in rural community, it could be out gopher hunting, skeet shooting.
Because you've got a lot more land.
Wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're not going to know the difference. That's even like my mother. My mother even flat out said one day, like you could hear something like a gunshot go off on the neighbors, and it could have just been Buddy just murdered his wife.
Yeah.
And you're not going to know the difference, and you're not going to think about it.
Ladies and gents, thank you all for listening. If you got anything big you want to tell us about, leave a comment or find a way to contact us. we'll eventually have email or Twitter or whatever the heck kids are using nowadays.
YouTube, right?
We'll probably post this on YouTube.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. It'll be on my channel, maybe Lawson's, I don't remember.
So please do leave us a comment, leaving suggestions, tell us what you thought of the episode, give us topics for future episodes, anything like that.
Honestly, thanks for listening, guys. We really appreciate it.
And anyways, guys, have a good night, and
Please leave
we'll
feedback.
see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Take it easy, guys.